Hi, I'm Akanksha and I'm the CEO and co-founder of CITTA, and welcome to the first episode of the Parenting Playbook. And today we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Isha Soni, who is a senior occupational therapist, and today we're going to address some concerns that most parents have. So welcome to the podcast. So Isha ma'am, if you can begin by just telling us how important is parent-child bonding, especially in the earlier years, and how does one strengthen it?
Okay, so I would say parent-child bonding begins right from in utero, like when the baby is within the womb. And what is also very important is the fourth trimester. So we all know that there are 3 trimesters to a pregnancy, but fourth trimester means the first 12 weeks after the baby is born.
Okay.
And research has backed it up enough to suggest that whatever the bond the mother forms with the baby during these first 3 months is actually wiring his brain for what the baby will be like an adult.
Oh wow.
So it is very, very important that the parent and baby, especially the mother, has a very good bond with the child. And when it comes to emotional bonding, it is so essential, like every minute, every second we all want to feel that sense of security and trust, which the baby will get from the mom. Next being, if the child is having this secure attachment pattern, the child will kind of be like a building block for that child to form future relationships. Also, it helps in the social development of the child, the language development. So if the mother and baby, if they share a good bond, if the mother is talking to the baby, there is so much of language acquisition that happens. The behavioral outcomes also, like going forward, if the parent and child has a good bond, there is going to be like a lot of cooperation between the child and the mom. The rules are set from first. So in this way, it is really, really important. Now, how can one strengthen it? It is, I would say, number one being face-to-face interaction. So if the mom is holding the baby face-to-face, acknowledging the coos, giving that eye contact, babbling along with the child, so this is kind of opening the gate for the baby to know something as communication, that okay, this is two-way. I do something and I get something that way. So face-to-face interaction is very, very important. Reading books aloud as the baby grows, so like maybe 6 months, 8 months down the lane, reading storybooks to the child, that will help again for the language, vocabulary. Pointing and labeling objects in the book will help the child to understand the object and the word relation. Being open in communication, being from the parent side, like allowing the child to cry, allowing the child to feel upset. All these things are very important to have a good emotional bond between a parent and child.
So you actually mentioned attachment style. So today's time we see a lot of information about your attachment style, like in a relationship. So you're saying that forms right from like when the baby is born.
Yes, yes. And so a secure attachment pattern is really, really important. If it is not, the child is going to carry those relationships, be it with friends, be it with an authoritarian figure, be it with their life partner. It is all going to be impacted.
Wow. So how does a mom ensure that the first 12 weeks the child is secure and feeling secure with her?
Being there, like a lot of physical intimacy, a lot of holding. Not to forget that the mother is also going through a lot that time, because it's like a totally new situation that the mother also has been put into. As very rightly in our Indian culture we say that it's like a second birth of a female once she becomes a mom. So yes, I think the physical intimacy and being there, acknowledging,
helps the
that
baby feel
helps.
secure.
Yeah.
Okay. So you actually also mentioned language. So what can we do to ensure that the child develops and we can foster their language development?
So again, I would see, like, have all of us ever wondered that how each one of us are able to learn our own mother tongue?
No.
So that's only by like listening in the environment around us, what the family members are talking around the baby. So that's how one acquires the mother tongue. So having a language rich environment in the house is like really, really important, and what we always advise the mothers is to do parallel talk. So by parallel talk, meaning like you're simply narrating whatever you are doing. So like, there are so many activities that you do with the baby. Okay, now we are changing your diaper. Okay, let me put you down. Simple language. And also what we, very important thing that we suggest is don't do baby talk with your child.
Okay. It's hard to control.
Yes, yes. I mean, you always feel that cuteness and that thing, but then we must always speak in like clear language to the child for a good language acquisition for the baby. Next thing would be like, again, like reading books, singing nursery rhymes to the child. Nursery rhymes helps in lot of phonological awareness, sets the tune for the rhymes, how the words are rhyming with each other. Having set routines for the child. So all of this helps a lot of language acquisition, like fostering the language development. And many days, these days, most of the times what is happening is children are showing lot of, parents are showing lot of screen. They feel that, okay, my child will learn all the nursery rhymes from the mobile or from the TV, from the iPad. But I always prefer that you be the clown for the child. You be the source of entertainment for your child, because what the child is going to learn from you is not going to happen from the mobile. There are so many things, like, be it expressions, be it how to move the mouth, how to move the tongue, and that is very, very important when it comes to clarity of speech, when it comes to how to make that particular sound. Because a screen is like something very passive versus a family member or a parent engaging the child. It's I would say firing different neurons in the brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
So nowadays we see a lot of kids, at least I have seen like a lot of kids around me who have an accent when they talk, whereas we're not living in an environment, they're not living in an environment where that kind of accent is used. So they pick that up that quickly from the screen, even an accent.
Yes, so most of the toddlers that we see in schools these days, they are talking Peppa Pig language. A lot of them when it comes to English. So, it's like full, like, the prosody of tone and everything is like so much Peppa Pig or, the other famous cartoons or shows that they watch. And in some cases, like, in neurodivergent children, meaning who have a diagnosis, they pick it up like exact, that accent to accent. And most of the autistic kids that we get to see, they have an iPad accent because they are learning their language from iPad. There are certain apps that the speech therapists use to foster language development in them, and those apps are actually mostly made in the US, and hence they carry that US accent with them.
I see.
Yeah.
That's so crazy to imagine that just by watching something the accent completely changes.
Yes, yes.
So you also mentioned like moving your mouth in a particular way and certain actions and expression. Is that what we call motor skills?
We will call it as oromotor skills.
Okay.
So, like, motor means anything to do with muscle and movement, and when we are talking about the mouth, the tongue, the teeth, the tone in the cheeks, and the vocal cords here. and also through the nose. Breathing is a very important aspect when we talk. So we also get to see hypernasality, meaning there are certain children who talk from their nose.
Okay.
So this all is
Part of it.
yeah.
Okay. So how does one help the child develop their fine motor skills, and what exactly are fine motor skills?
So fine motor skills is anything to do with small muscles of the hand. So in day-to-day life, it may be something like buttoning, picking up a small bite, and like, you know, your pincer grip basically, like picking up a murmura, picking up a cheeseling, anything like that, putting it in your mouth, lacing your shoes, tying shoestrings, or threading a needle. Fine motor skills also includes using your eating utensils, like using the spoon, using the fork,
Is that something
holding a
children
pencil.
struggle with?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So they do struggle many times. I would kind of say that it's because of the lifestyle that the children are leading these days. There is less and less of outdoor play, due to which their fine motor skills are affected. So they just know using the finger and, like, you know, swiping,
Yeah, they can do
rather
that
than
well. Yeah.
rather than going down in the park, playing on equipment, sliding, hanging on the bars. That all things have reduced a lot.
Right.
So yes, we get to see a lot of cases wherein children are struggling with fine motor skills, and what parents can do is just engage them in the house
Right.
work.
Right.
So, like, you know, be it like asking them to cut boiled potatoes, maybe peeling green peas, or, like, you know, if the mom is doing baking, so, like, you know, pressing, giving shape with the cookie
dough,
cutters, Play-Doh, then stringing beads, Lego, building blocks. There are like so many things, even like, you know, just peeling stickers, peeling bindis, like lot of things. I mean, our house is always very rich with all such kind of activities.
Right.
It's just that, you know, you need to start thinking in that aspect.
Yeah.
It can be a lot of water play also. So, like, you know, if you have sponge that the child is just squeezing, because before the pincer grip, what we are looking for is the mass grasp in the child. That is really, really important. And when if I have to speak as an occupational therapist, so for fine motor skills, it is not just the finger muscles that need to be strong. We are talking about the entire arm over here.
Right.
So, you know, if there is not a good muscle tone in the arm, if the arm is not strong enough, we are not going to get a good end product at the hand.
Right.
So, like, you know, a lot of crawling activities. We as OTs, we always ask the parent that did your baby crawl as a child, because that's very important. Bilateral coordination,
Yeah.
The shoulder stability, wrist extension, a good postural control, core musculature. So these are all actually prerequisites for fine motor skills. But within home, these are the various art and craft activities and things like that which the parents can do at home.
Okay. Is there a certain age that you find that, okay, if it should be developed at, like these skills, especially like the pincer grip or the mass grasp?
Of course. So pincer grip is something which, like, you know, we say that at 1 year of age, a child should be able to pinch something between the thumb and index finger and put it in the mouth.
Okay.
Small bits of food. That is something which should happen. Then around 3.5 years of age is when the child starts developing hand dominance. So hand dominance meaning, is the child left-handed or right-handed?
Right.
And it kind of develops till 4.5.
Okay.
At age 2.5, we say that the child should be able to make circular strokes, vertical strokes, horizontal strokes. So this is how we assess the child, or if the child is going to any Montessori or any preschool, this is how they assess. Yeah.
And these are things parents should also look out for.
Yes.
Okay.
And like drawing a diamond is the last thing that the child is, because when we are talking about writing, making shapes, it's not just the fine motor skills, it also has to do with a lot of visuomotor integration, meaning how is your brain perceiving a shape and the ability to copy it back.
Right.
So, I mean, that this is such an important skill when the child has to copy from the board in the notebook.
Yeah, yeah.
So, this is basically all school readiness what we are talking about.
Okay, interesting. So you actually mentioned trying to entertain your child on your own, but many times that's very challenging for a parent to do all the time. So we do use the help of the screen.
Yes.
So what is the right amount of screen that the child can see, and what is the kind of content that they should watch or stay away from?
So, 0 to 2 years is when we say that it should be zero screen time. Now, what I'm talking about is according to the guidelines issued by American Association of Pediatrics, which is like followed worldwide. So, they say 0 to 2 years should be like zero screen time, only video calling allowed with the parent if the parent is out of town.
Okay.
That is one.
Yeah.
Then 2 to 5 years is like 1 hour of screen time. And this is again like non-educational, because we have seen times in the past where everything was online and children were getting education also online. So they have specifically mentioned non-educational screen time being 1 hour limited, can go up to 3 hours over the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah. And then age 6 to 10 is like 4 hours permitted, but along with strict guidelines in place, that preference to the task that need to be finished first, versus giving preference to the screen. So these are the guidelines for the screen time. And particularly I'm not like fan of any content which I feel is maybe beneficial to the child, but if I have to name a few, maybe I would say some literacy apps, some numeracy apps, or like some connecting dots, or maybe playing certain games like a word search game, because then that is kind of helping the child develop other skills.
Any kind of content that you suggest one should stay away from?
Staying away, I mean everything, I would say. like because I strongly encourage parents to teach that rhymes to the child versus the child learning it from the mobile. And there are a lot of mundane videos which I have seen children watching. Like it is just like a series of things, like first the red color, then the yellow color, and then the blue color. They are like maybe navigating some vehicle through it. And it is actually the people who have made those videos, they have tapped the right chemical in the brain which is going to keep you hooked to the screen. And research has showed that it has effects like a drug to the child, effects like that of morphine.
My God.
So it should not happen, and children are kind of getting addicted to those videos, like maybe like a knife cutting through something. So it is symmetrically, it is very enticing to see such things, and it stimulates a certain neurotransmitter in the brain, and that's why children, they keep on watching it. So
what is the harm in that if they are exposed to content?
Because
like
then the brain is asking them to watch it all the more, all the more. And I also would say that children should strongly stay away from reels, because it has become so easy. So like if they are watching a reel maybe for 5 seconds, they don't like it, they just swipe, they just swipe, they just swipe. And this is how they expect the humans around them also to respond. It is reducing their patience. It is reducing, they expect their parents to be as prompt as a remote button. That and it does happen.
Of
like
course,
I have seen it in my own family as well, wherein like Mama, I want this, and if I'm doing something, I'm taking a minute, I want this, I want this, I want this. So it's like immediate gratification. So that is what the online content is doing to their brains. And it should be not at all encouraged.
So for a parent, it's something as simple as I'm letting them watch a video, but the people who have created it have made it at a very scientific level, which is creating a scientific difference in the brain also.
Because there are certain some world records and everything which parents are very interested to enroll their child into. That at 14 months my child can identify 50 wild animals, 50 domestic animals, 10 vegetables, 20 fruits. So I mean, where are you going? Where are you leading? Like, how is it going to help the child in future?
Yeah.
Because what you are missing out is the basic skill. Like, you're missing out the base of your pyramid. That what is more important than knowing these animals and vegetables and objects is that the day-to-day communication, that if I need something, I have to say mama, I have to use the word mama, I have to use it in the right context, I have to communicate my needs and wants.
Right.
So that basic essence of communication is getting missed, and parents are probably just running behind how knowledgeable my child is. I mean, eventually at 2.5 the child has to go to a school and learn all these things.
Right. So true. So when it comes to the parent side of things, so how do you suggest self-care for a parent?
Self-care is really important. I mean, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And as a parent, we carry lots and lots of responsibilities. It is especially very important for a new mom, because she is dealing with so much of changes within her, be it physical changes, be it hormonal changes, be it cultural pressure, be it familial pressure. There is a very big pressure regarding feeding, that how well fed my baby is, am I able to satiate the hunger of my baby. So there are so many such things, plus the mom is sleep deprived. So I mean, everything is like a cycle. It works as a cycle, and if she is not getting that time for her own, the self-care, her hormonal system is going to go for a toss, which is going to further add on to her difficulties. So it is very important, number one, to ask for help. Many times new mothers, they feel that if I ask for help, I may be seen in a negative light, which is not true. So at least, having that half an hour for yourself or 1 hour for yourself, where you can go down for a walk, or maybe you can listen to music, or you can do some activities related to your own self-care. That's very important. Going further, maybe when we talk about parents who have toddlers or children maybe 4-5 years of age, if they are not practicing self-care, they are not going to have that patience to deal with their children, and then it kind of forms a cycle. Children are always learning from their parents every second what they are modeling. So suppose if you as a parent is constantly snapping at your child, that child is going to snap at the younger sibling or to his friends, because that's what the child has learned from the parent, that okay, this is the way I deal with anger, or this is the way when I feel very impulsive, this is what I do. So self-care also means,
when it comes to something like this, I mean, of course the parents can try and control themselves, but when they are living in a family environment and there are other adults who are modeling this kind of behavior, you also don't want your child to pick up from them. So how does a parent control that aspect?
Well, I would say this is like a tightrope walk, because the parent has to get this across to that child's grandparents or maybe other seniors in the house, and it becomes a little dicey situation, because even they will feel that why are you teaching us parenting, like we've done it, we have done it for you and you are totally fine. But then there are so many new parenting blogs, and there's like so much of detail which we are giving now to everything that we do with our child, that it is important. So maybe if we just convey it to them in the right way, in a way that it doesn't make them feel hurt, I think
that's something that a parent should think about.
Yes, because we cannot say something bad to our child about our own parents. So I mean, the way forward is that we just convey it to them in a way which doesn't hurt them.
Great. So also when it comes to tantrums, that's something parents really struggle with, more so now because of the amount of screen time that children have gotten used to, that increases the amount of tantrums also. So how can a parent deal with it effectively?
So first point would be like we as a parent need to be calm while a child is throwing a tantrum, because if we are not, we are adding more to the chaos. So it is but natural that the child will show tantrums, because the child is testing his own limits as well as our limits. That till where can I go, till where can I stretch it.
Yeah.
And so staying calm in that moment, validating their emotions, that okay, you're feeling upset, what is making you upset, reasoning it out with them, labeling their emotions, because a child doesn't know that this is anger, this is happy. We are giving the name to that particular emotion.
Right.
So labeling those emotions, but at the same time being firm and gentle with the child, that I know you want that toy, but I am not buying it for you. So you are getting that message very clear across to the child. Also, I have seen a lot of behavioral issues, especially in the joint family, because there is no uniformity. And the child is smart enough to manipulate. The child knows that okay, mom is saying no, maybe dad will say a yes to it, or maybe like my grandparents will say a yes to it. So then if we are trying to modify a behavior, we all need to be on the same page, then only it can be modified.
Right.
So there are a lot of behavior issues which we get to see even in neurotypical children: spitting, head banging, I didn't get something, just roll on the floor.
Yeah.
So it is very important to modify this before the child starts going to the school.
Right.
Otherwise it's like
tougher to
more
manage for them.
tougher, because the child is going to get a lot of attention from
their peers,
the teachers, and everyone. And always more attention means more behavior. It is going to increase and escalate further.
That's why you'll see kids throw tantrums publicly more often.
Yes, in the malls,
Right.
because they have more audience over there.
Right. So now talking specifically about OT, can you explain to us what is occupational therapy? How does it help a child? Why does a child need it?
So occupational therapy comes from the word occupation. And occupation doesn't really mean the jobs that we do. Occupation for a child is play. So occupation means what you are doing majority time of the day. So for a child it is play. For someone in adulthood it is their work. For someone who's senior it is leisure time.
Right.
So this is what occupation means, and occupational therapy works in various fields, be it neurological conditions, be it orthopedic conditions, but we are going to stick today to pediatric occupational therapy.
Okay.
So pediatric occupational therapy means it is a type of therapy wherein the therapist helps the child to develop gross motor skills, fine motor skills, making him or her independent in their daily skills of life, sensory processing, and play. So this is what the OTIS does, and these are like the target areas for a child. How it benefits the child is it helps the child to develop all these skills which I just mentioned.
Right.
And how does one know, how will a parent identify that my child needs OT? So the most common complaints that we get to see is child is not paying attention in the classroom. It is now again very subjective.
Right.
By not paying attention means, so this is like over a period of time where the majority of class has settled down, but your child is still facing issues settling down.
Right.
Not able to write, very reluctant to write, doesn't know the spacing, gaps, where to maintain columns, making reversals, or is having a difficult time with peers, has a lot of emotional outbursts, temper tantrums,
Right.
has a lot of hypersensitivities, or is a seeker, just doesn't sit in one place,
Right.
is a very picky eater. So these are the signs which the parents can easily pick up on, and these are like the signals for the parents that okay, I need to go and visit an occupational therapist.
So a lot of this is also the feedback that you would get from the school.
Yes, so from school we do get, so like every school has a counselor and a special educator.
Right.
So from them this is the information that we get.
Okay.
And this I spoke to you about neurotypical children without any diagnosis, but occupational therapy also extensively work with children who have autism or who have ADHD, who have learning difficulties, who are born as high risk infants. So they show a lot of delay in their motor skills. So head, neck holding, sitting. The child is 1.5 years old but is not yet walking.
Right.
So these are all the signs that the parent needs to go and see an occupational therapist.
Right. So when it comes to neurotypical children also, you have been now practicing for a long time. Do you see a change in the situation today? Are there more challenges? Are the frequency of children who are facing challenges higher or lower? How has the graph changed over the years?
I think it is both the ways. I think that now we as parents have become very, very aware right from the birth of the baby.
Right.
So back then, like olden times, there were no milestone books being handed over.
Yeah.
While you get discharged from the hospital
Right.
after birthing.
Right.
So right from there the parents are like really vigilant. But when it comes to such developmental issues in children, yes, we have seen that there is a rise in it also, mostly attributed to the lifestyles that we are leading. I mean, everybody in the house is very busy.
Right.
Gone are the days where a mom used to be solely dedicated to the child. So
Yeah.
we all are working. Most of the children are spending their time in daycares. They're getting picked up late in the evening, and by that time, they're already exhausted. So there is a lot of quality time which is missing, and between the parent and the child,
Right.
which leads the child to be more dependent on screens, and then the screens cause attention deficits in the children,
Right.
and lack of motor skills and so many other things.
Right. Well, ma'am, thank you so much for sharing such insightful details with us today, and with all the parents who are hopefully watching this and getting a lot of information out of it.
It was totally my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So that was it for the first episode of the Parenting Playbook, an initiative by CITTA where we try and answer your parenting queries and questions with the help of experts. If there's any other topic you would like us to address or explore, please let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.